Well, 2020 has been a year, and it's ending. I really like New Year's. I think it's a good thing to celebrate. You know, there's not too many times that we take stock of, the last year. I always tend to think about like where I was last New Year's Eve, and where I want to be a year from now, and the next New Year's Eve. And that doesn't happen too often. I kind of do that on my birthday and like think about the year that I've had. But the other time that I really kind of take stock of my year is New Year's Eve, and I feel like a lot of other people do that. I think it's a really, it's a good holiday, good little marker to just kind of think about things. But I want to talk about New Year's resolutions. I'm not generally a fan, which is weird because I, have a whole other YouTube channel about building habits and daily practices. But like New Year's resolutions, I feel like it's almost like too much pressure to put on yourself. It's just like after this day, I'm going to like completely change all these things. I think at least what works for me is, smaller things one at a time, and also like, if you have the inspiration to start doing something, you should strike while the iron's hot, and while you have that inspiration, and then just keep going as long as you can. I think there's like pressure to like have resolutions and like, because we all have things that we want to start doing or want to stop doing. And I guess it's kind of good that, New Year's Eve does put that pressure on us a little bit, but I don't think you should save all that up for New Year's, save it all up for resolutions. I think like if you want to start doing something, you should just, when you have the inspiration and the motivation to start that thing or stop doing that thing, you should just do it and then go as long as you can. That's, my advice, or at least what works for me. I'll put it that way. That being said, I'm starting something on New Year's. I'm gonna start learning to do a handstand, and I have a little video about that. If you want to go watch it, it'll be around. You can find it. You're a smart internet person, I'm sure. But New Year's, it's weird. Like in our minds, we have like such a dividing line about different years. And, when we hear that something happened in, a year, we kind of have a mental image of like that year and what that year was like. We don't, it's interesting. I don't know. I've been thinking about it. And it's also fascinating how like quickly our concept of years change, like when it's a new year, it seems like futuristic and really cool. And then as soon as that feeling starts, about the new year, when you hear about something that happened last year, you're like, oh, that's old news. Like, at one point I was walking around like 2012, man, this is the future. We're living in the future, 2012. That's crazy. Now I'm like, that happened in 2012? That was forever ago. That was ancient history. And it's just, I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of obvious, but it's just something I think about, how our perception of years change as time passes. And time's not even a real thing, That's why I like solstice times. I always think about that. And since the winter solstice, I've talked about this in the last video, but I'm very excited about how the sun's sticking around a little longer every day. And then the time change, which, time is just a man-made construct. Daylight savings time really is. Time's not real, but New Year's is cool. Even though calendars are it's just arbitrary. know, it's just arbitrary that the year starts on a certain day. But it's cool. You know, most things in life are just social constructs. That didn't sound nice. I gotta get better at this. I need to learn more than 4 chords if I'm gonna keep doing this. But not today. Today you only get 4. I'll debut a new fancy chord at some point. But yeah, Happy New Year's. I think it's gonna be a good one. It's but you know, it's, you know, time is ever moving and changing, and things are changing, and like New Year's Day is arbitrary, but it is still, I think, a good reason to like think about the past year. Think about where you were last year and where you want to be a year from now. And that's what I'm thinking about. Yeah, and it's good that we have that. So happy 2021 to everyone, or whenever you are. You know, whenever in the year it is, it's a good time. And, you know, I was talking about like past years seeming really old. You could be watching this in the future. Probably are you? Well, I guess by definition you are. And I don't know, you know, hearing about 2020 is going to be like, oh man, 2020. Remember? That's a weird thing about this year though, is it's been a year for like pretty much everyone in the world. I don't think there's ever been like such a shared cultural experience with everyone on the planet, pretty much. But like almost everyone's like daily routine has been changed because of the events of this year, and I don't think that's ever happened before. Strange year. It's coming to an end, and a new one's starting, and new beginnings are good, but the date is still arbitrary.